שיעור בגמרא בבא מציעא פרק השוכר סעובנים דף עין ווב עמוד בייז till עין זין עמוד א', the words the וסוגיא of Omar. So we're going to start from the line begins with the word me'elu, which is about 8 lines from the bottom. Two introductions. One, we learned in the previous shiur, the Gemara brought a long brayse, and one of the halachas, the second halacha in the brayse was when somebody hired workers to do a specific job. For example, he hired workers to plow his field, and when they went to the field, they found that it was wet and full of water, and they couldn't plow. So how much do we pay him? Do we pay him full price or not? So the brayse says that we pay him like a poil bottle. That means we pay him like somebody who went and didn't do the full job, instead of paying him the full amount of money. Now we're going to learn. The second introduction is that in the time of the Amoraim knew all the Mishnayos, but they did not necessarily most Amoraim knew the Brises. Most Amoraim did not know the Brises. Therefore, there was a specific person who knew all the Brises, and they used to be called the Tane. We can start the shiur now. Toni Tano Kamei Rav. A Tane who knew all the Brises, he learned with Rav. What did he learn with Rav? He learned the Brise with the story that he hired workers to plow his field, and they went and they found the field that it was wet. And what did he learn with him? Noiselam schara misholem. Instead of saying noiselam schara misholem and they get paid like a bottle, he told Rav that he gives them the full payment. Omar lei, so Rav told them, how can you say that they get paid full payment? Chavivi Omar, my uncle Rabbi said, Ilu ano avoi, if I would have been the one that hired the workers and they didn't have what to work, I would only give them like a poil bottle. Therefore, and you telling me that they get paid in full, it can be. Now, what is the contradiction? Rabbi says one thing and the Brayse says another thing. But since Rabbi wrote the Brises, so those things have to match. So the question is, how can the Tane says that in the Brayse says that Noiselam Schoram Misholem will get paid in full, and Rabbi wrote the Brayse says that Noiselam Schoram like a poil bottle? And for the Gemara right away is asking a question. Doesn't make sense. How can you tell me that in the Brayse says that Noiselam Schoram Misholem ve'halok Tani, and that says clearly in the Brayse Eno doime aboton laborekom that you can't compare the payments to somebody who come loaded to somebody who come empty, and also you can compare the payment to somebody who does work to somebody who does nothing. That means in the Brayse itself, it already says clearly, it says the following words. It says, Noiselam schara misholem, avol ein adoime. So the Brayse itself clarifies that it gives them the whole payment, as we said before, payment what they deserve, not the full payment. So how can you tell me that the Tane taught him that Noiselam schara misholem? And for the Eleki Gemara, loy saimur kamei. They didn't finish the end of the Brayse in front of Rav. So the reason that they didn't finish the Brayse is unknown to me. But because they didn't finish the end of the Brayse, the Avor, so Rav slot, Rav had a question from his uncle Rabbi Rashi. Toni Tana zog the Eleki Rashi, 6 lines from the bottom of in the Rashi. Toni Tane, what did he learn? Ba'idaleil in the Brayse from before. Which Brayse? Olchu chamorim v'loimotzu. When the donkey drivers went and they didn't find wheat, or the poyalim didn't find, they were not able to plow the field. Chavivi Omar, says Rashi, doidi Rabchia, my uncle Rabchia. Iano avoi, says Rashi, Iani asoicher, if I would have been the one who hired them, lo ave yoivno, I would only give them only like a poil bottle. Next Rashi, Nami, either doesn't say anet clearly the kepoil bottle or the chocolate that they get paid like a poil bottle, and therefore why are you telling me that Noiselam schara misholem? Next Rashi, lo yisamur kamei lo yisimu soifer Brayse lefonov. They didn't finish the end of the Brayse in front of him. So that's one opinion. Now there is another opinion who says that the conversation between Rav and the Tane was a little bit different. Therefore, the shaila from the Gemara and the shaila from Rabbi, the shaila from Rav was also a little bit different. Let's see it. Ikadamri, that those who say a little bit different. Saimur kamei. They did finish the end of the Brayse in front of Rav. He taught him the whole Brayse. That means he taught him that they get paid like a poil bottle. So therefore, what was the conversation? Ve'achiko Amar, and that's what Rav told at the time. Chavivi Omar, my uncle Rabbi Pinchas says, if I would have been the Soicha, the one who hired them, I wouldn't pay the worker anything. And you telling me that in the Bryce says they get paid like a bottle. So that's the question. Rav's question was, it's a contradiction between what Rabbi Pinchas says, that they get paid nothing, and what the Bryce says, that they get paid like a bottle. If that's the conversation between Rav and the Tana, so we still have the contradiction. How are you going to answer the contradiction between the Bryce and Rabbi Pinchas? And for the Eliki Gemara, Loi Kashi. It's not a question. Oh, the Rabbi Pinchas who says that they get paid nothing. The Sayrol Arim in the Ursa that they check the field, they walked, they visited, and they checked the field the night before. So what? So therefore, they saw exactly the condition of the field. So if they saw the condition of a field, they were able to tell if you can work on it or not. So if rain came the next day, they should have known not to come to work. What are you coming to work? So if you came to work, you don't get paid anything. Or, in the case of the Bryce that they do get paid like a poor bottle, they did not check the field the night before. They didn't visit it and check the field the night before. Therefore, they don't know the condition of the fields. So if they don't know the condition of the field, the balabas should have told them, do not come to work in the morning. And since he didn't tell them, he pays them like a poor bottle. Rashi. Lo ave, 4 lines from the bottom. Lo ave yevno klal, says Rashi, why not? The mazalayu goram, it was their bad luck. Now, later on, the Gemara is going to explain it. Rashi is going to explain it a little bit more. They also should have thought about it. Maybe they're going to find a wet field, so they should not have come to work, as we're going to explain. Or the Sayrel Ameruso. And he took the workers there, and they saw the field, and they didn't understand that the field is wet. Or maybe rain came at night. Therefore, they don't get anything. Why? They themselves saw the field, they saw the condition. And therefore, they knew exactly what to do the next morning, should they come to work or not. So therefore, they were hired on that condition, that if rain comes, and if you cannot work, you shouldn't come to work. So where are you going to work? They're not able to work. They should not have gone in the morning to work, and since they went to the morning, they did it to themselves, so they don't get paid anything. Says Rashi, since they didn't check the field the night before, so therefore, all of oil losses slave of you should have paid attention to this thing. What? And to let them know if you're going to find a wet field, you should have made a condition with them. And since he didn't, therefore, he didn't tell him, and he didn't make a condition. He gives them like a bottle. Now, we go back to the Gemara. The Gemara brings proof to this concept to make a difference if they check the field the night before or not. Just like Rove says, if someone hire workers to make ditches around the field, and rain came, and filled up the field with water, and now they cannot do the job. So again, the same exactly thing that we said before. If they visited and checked the field the night before, the Poyalim are going to lose. If they didn't visit it or check the field the night before, the Balabais is going to lose, and he has to give them like a poil bottle. Rashi. Pseida de Poyalim, says Rashi, we're holding right now at the Fain Zayin and Medalef on top of the page. Gishomim sheyardu, the rain that came down, efset Poyalimu, it's a loss for the Poyalim. How are they going to lose? The lo yoiv le'umidi, doesn't give them anything. Why? He tells them, Mazalaychu goram gibet mazal kosi. Lo yisayra muhura, muhura subsede de balabai, zog de lekarashi, the amrilei, because they tell him, who said that you hired us for that field? Which means, like this, if a guy hires somebody to work on a field to make ditches, and rain came, not necessarily it's impossible that not to work. Could be that you are able to work. Why? Because since it's a hard field, you could still do work. So it's his responsibility to let him know. So let's just clarify the few rules that has to do when the poyalim lose and when the balabais lose. And then it's going to make it easier for the next few cases. The poyalim lose if it's nobody would know. It's something that would be an oiness that nobody will know. Not the balabais, not the poyalim would know from that coming factor. Then, so poyalim are going to lose. But if the only one who's going to know that information is the balabais, and he didn't tell him, so then he has to pay him like a poil bar. Back to the Gemara, 2 lines from the top. Since we brought Rove in one case, now the Gemara is going to bring a whole bunch of cases from Rove also. This was case number 1, now it's case number 2. V'omar Rove, and Rove said, I man the oigir aguri ledavlo, if a person hired workers to water the field. Ve'osa mitro, and then rain came, and now since the rain came, the rain watered the field, their job is not needed anymore. Say to the poyalim. Poyalim is going to lose. Now, why are the poyalim is going to lose? Because they should have realized, I don't have to come to work. What do you come to work? It's a common sense. Second case, in this form of Osonaro. Now, what about, the concept of the watering the field is you can water from the rain, and you can also water from little rivers that the people have around the field. So the big river overflow, it's called the Trait goes I, and it fills up all the little canals, and therefore they don't have to come to work. So the river came up and filled up and watered the field, and their job is not needed anymore. So what's the din? Also na'aro, if the river came up and watered the field, say that the poyalim, the balabais is going to lose. Why the balabais is going to lose in this case? Because he's the only one who knows that he has not everybody has such a system to water the field. So he's the only one who knew. Since he's the only one who knew, he should have told them. And since he didn't tell them, he has to give him like a poel bok. Rashi. Ledavlo, Zogdele Karashi, Laashka Isodo is to water the field. Vosa Mitro, Veishko Isodo. Rain came and watered the field. Veinotzrich Ledavlo, doesn't need them to water the field. Also now, Zogdele Karashi. Godel Anor, Ve'olo, the river came up. Venichnas, Becharitzim Asuim Basode, and he went in all the ditches who made in the field. Ume'emin Shoiso, and from those ditches in the river, the field gets watered. So therefore, they don't need to water the field. Say that the Balabai Zogdele Karashi. Why? The poyalim the poyalim don't know how his field runs. That the river goes up to water the field. But he knew. Now since he knew, and he didn't tell them, so therefore he has to pay him like a poel bok. Let's look as a little Taisus, the first Taisus on the Omed. I think it's a beautiful Taisus to learn. The Ogar Agur Ledavle V'Osa Mitro Pseida the poyalim. Sog the Eile Ketoises, Mashma Ocho, from here is understood the Aloche Kerove, the Aloche like Rove, that the Poyalim are going to lose. Why? The Leke Man de Pole, because there's no one arguing. So therefore, nobody argues, so that's the Aloche. Veteim, Frag the Eile Ketoises, it's a wonder. The Omar, the Mishocha, so it says in Perk Mishocha, so in Gemara Gittin, Aud the Omar Leila, Risei, a guy told his worker. Now the workers, those Oris workers used to have a deal. They work on the field and they take a certain percentage from the field, and the balabais take a certain percentage. Say it again? A sharecropper. So he tells them like this: everybody waters the field 3 times, and they take a quarter from the profit, from the products. Ve'at, I'm making a condition with you, you're going to be different. Dol yarbo, you're going to water the field 4 times, and you're going to take a third. What happened in the end? In the end, rain came, so he gained. He didn't have to water the field. The extra time. So now becoming a machlekes between the balabais and the workers. The balabais said, since you didn't water the field the 4th time, I'll give you like everybody else. And he says, no, well, I gained. So what's the difference? Who watered the field? The field was watered 4 times. So therefore, I should get paid the third that you made up with me. Omar Rav Yosef Oloy Dolo. So Rav Yosef says he didn't water the field, therefore he should get only a quarter. Rabbi Omar. Rabbi says, Oloi Isrich, he didn't need to. And with Farish time in the Rabbi, and the Gemara explains the reason of Rabbi. What does it mean he didn't need to? Mishum de Bishmai Rechim Yalei. The Rebbe Shter Rechmonas on him. And what are the field for the Balabais? So therefore he should gain. The Rebbe Shter kind of gave him a gift. Umuchach also. And we see over there, the Aloche Kerabe. The Aloche is like Rabbi. So we see over here that what? So what do we see? We see that it's Pseida the Balabais, not Pseida the Poyalim. And for the Gemara, V'yeshloimar the Davke, for Toisus, V'yeshloimar the Davke ba'oris yered l'karka barisus. Only by a oris, a worker, that goes on a field with that type of a condition. Noisela yashlish afilu osim mitro. He gives them the third, even if rain comes. That means he doesn't lose his extra profit even for the rain. Not like here that the Poyalim are losing. Misofik, the Shemolo Yossi, because could be that rain will not come. Kimoy Shararisi, the Shokl River. Afilosi Mitro. Just like all the other workers. Let's say they get a quarter even if rain came. They still get a quarter. So the same thing by these stories, he will get his profit even though rain came. And he doesn't have to do 3 times. But here in the story, we see the Poyalim are losing when the rain comes. He gives them the payment for the work. They're only going to take only for what they did. And they're going to lose for the rest. Why? Because they didn't go down to the field in the condition as ours. That means like this. If you came down, that was your condition. You made up like atchila, the payment and the percentage, the rain, or just the regular workers that you were hired to water the field, and rain came, and now you don't have to do your job. You are just a random workers. You're not a regular workers. That's the condition that you made up. Back to the Gemara. Line begins with Omar Rove, the second Omar Rove. The Omar Rove, another halacha. Somebody hired workers to water the field. And the water from the river that the river that they used to take water from it stopped in the middle of the day now, so they don't have any more work to do because there's no more water. Okay. Now the river, obviously, it's not talking about the Hudson River that there is always water there. There used to be those canals that because people used to take water constantly from that canal, the water would stop. Now the Gemara goes into details. If it's not usual that it stops, say that the Poyalim is going to lose. Remember, like you said, it's like a noiness. Now, anytime that nobody will know, the Poyalim is going to lose. Now, Ovid the Posik. Now, what about if it's coming to stop? So again, we make 2 different chilukim, 2 different differences. If there are people from the city, therefore they knew that the river is going to stop and not give water, say that the Poyalim, because they knew. So if they knew, so that on that condition they were hired. Lavnei Masa. If they were not from the people of the city, therefore they didn't know, and the Balabais should have told them. So then it said that the Balabais, and he has to give them like a poil bottle. Rashi, Uposik Naharo, says Rashi, Shemimenu Mashkim, that from the field, the river, they take water, stop. Toisves. Uposik Naharo bepalgo de yoimo, says Toisves. Toisves has a little bit of an issue, challenge. Why doesn't it say Uposik Naharo? Why does it say Uposik Naharo bepalgo de yoimo in the middle of the day? Who cares when it happened? It says Toisves. Here it chose to quote half a day, because in the middle of the day, it happens that it will stop more. Why? Because today that we take out from the river to water the field, so the water is less, so therefore the river stops. Next Toises. Ovid the Posik, say to the Balabais. So Toises wants to clarify a little bit difference between 2 cases that Rava says. Number 1, in the case when the river came up, the The Gemara doesn't make a difference if it's used to come up or if it's not used to come up. And why over here in this case, when the river stopped, when the water stopped, you do make a difference if it's usual or not. So Taisa says, because over there, the stoma of it lemeise, over there it's usual to happen. Why? Because that's why the Balabais made all these canals for the water to go into. Nobody invests in digging canals if water doesn't come. And to take the water into the entire field. Now, Taisa brings another point. Well, again, in this case, we make a difference if there are people from the city or not people from the city. In the case before, regarding watering the field, we don't make a difference if there are people from the city or not. We do not make a difference if there are people from the city or people from other cities. Says because even in the case when the water rose up, came up, even if there are people from the city, the Balabais is still going to lose. Why? It's not up to them to know what's happening in their field, if the river comes through the field or not. But if the river stops, which is a very uncommon thing, then it becomes a conversation of everybody. Everybody knows. So therefore, the Gemara makes a difference if there are people from the city or not. Next piece of Gemara, the last piece of Gemara. And Rove came, and Rove says, someone that hire workers for a specific job. And they finish the job in the middle of the day. So now the question is, does he get to give them another job? Because he hired them for the day for a specific job, but they did it faster. So they can he give them another job? And what happens if he doesn't have? Or can he give them, what type of a job can he give them? So the Gemara says, if he has a job which is easier than the first one, he gives it to them. Or if he has a job which is similar, he can commend them on their job. But if it's a job which is harder than the first job, he cannot commend them to do the job. And therefore, he gives them the complete prize, not like a bottle, even though they didn't do the job for the second half of the day, they didn't do anything, he gives them a complete job. I just want to point out that when it comes to a job which is easier, the Gemara used the expression yoivle, who gives them. When it comes to a job which is the same or harder, the Gemara used the expression mafked or loy mafked, commend or not. Why? Because when it's an easier job, it's easier to tell them, you can give it to him. But when it comes a job which is the same or harder, then you have to commend them because the Poyalim are not so eager to listen. Back to the Gemara. Frag the Elike Gemara, Amai, why does he pay him like a pearl bottle? Why does he pay him full payment? Thank you. Bottle. You should give them like a pearl bottle. Didn't we learn that when you don't do the job, you don't get paid fully, you get paid like a pearl bottle? So why these guys, when Rabbi says, he says you get paid full. And for the Elike Gemara, Kiko Omar Rabbi, when did Rabbi says that they get paid in full? In a specific case. In the carriers of the city Mechoizer. Why do they get treated differently? Now, when it says carriers of the city Mechoizer, it does not mean dafke them. It means anybody who's, and also people who are similar, the same attitude. The Ilo Yavdi Chalshi. If they're not going to work, they're going to get weak. What does that mean? There are people who, if you don't have a job, they rather sit and do nothing. I got a day off, I got a half a day off, it's easier for me. So that's one attitude of people. Take unemployment and so on and so forth. But there are people that if they don't work, for them it's worse. They have to work. So for them, you don't tell them, I'll give you like a bottle. Don't give me nothing. I need to work. I need to do physical work. Otherwise, I'll go mishuge. Let's see the Rashi. Says Rashi, in the city of Mechoizer, which is the city of Rabbi, there were people who always used to carry packages, and when they sit and do nothing, it's very hard for them. And that's why they get paid like a complete price, not poil bottle. Thank you for listening to the show.